Hey, welcome to Integrated Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. I want to do a little bit of a follow-up on this mass shooting up there in New York on the subway, because there's some really interesting things coming to light, or maybe coming to light. You never know. You don't know how much of this stuff you're being shoveled is true and how much of it is agenda. I want to talk a little bit about that, cover a couple of things. Come on out, buddy. Yeah, come on out. You can go out there. Second son's coming out to play with the dog and jump on the trampoline, while before I say that, I have a very sad, kind of a sad announcement. Got a sad comment or message. I forget which, but I got it. That's from one of our highly valued subscribers, and evidently Buffalo Sweat is not available in Colorado. I know. Can you imagine that? And well, I felt so badly about that I have this one for you. All right, get ready. All right, buddy. I know you appreciate that. Let's get back to this situation in New York. When I saw the initial story, and like I said on this morning's video, I just didn't. There were some things that just weren't ringing true on this thing. You know, I have my doubts. I expressed my doubts. As a matter of fact, when I put it up over on the other, I put another one over on the other channel, and they have not monetized it. I must be treading on a toe or two. But anyway, so the story is that this train's coming in, the N train, and whatever this 39th Street, 36th Street station, something like that. And a guy who apparently had been sitting quietly, all of a sudden puts on a gas mask and pops some smoke. Apparently it looked like, if this is to be believed, and we don't know if any of this, how much of it is to be believed, looked like some, consumer level fireworks, smoke bombs, something like that. So he pops some smoke in there. Car starts filling up with smoke, and he pulls a gun and he starts letting go. And so at the end of the story, and then it reaches the station, and doors open, people spilling out, screaming, smoke coming out, people bleeding, and a guy disappears. We get an initial description of a black guy in like a workman's outfit, wearing a mask, a gas mask. But so I'm thinking, okay, they got millions of cameras in New York, right? They're gonna get this guy in 30 minutes. No, they don't get him. And so I had another question that I asked on this morning. I said, this many people in a subway train and nobody gets killed? Nobody dies? Nobody has even life-threatening injuries? That's also odd. So I go about my day-to-day, and then I check, and I've seen a couple, some news items. Actually, my son is the one who told me about they'd found a U-Haul truck. U-Haul, huh? And so I check a few, and so I finally got to the Daily Mail, and I have put up a link to the Daily Mail article over on the Patreon channel if you'd like to check it. The interesting thing, I find that a lot of times the Brits print the truth about what's happening over here before our people do, because our people are too concerned about deciding what they want the narrative to be, and I'm sure that all day long, after we heard that initial blackmail, I didn't hear race mentioned again, till finally when I checked the Daily Mail. There's our street racer. We usually see him or hear him about once a night. He must be going to his girlfriend's house. We hear him again when he heads back home after midnight. So we hear that apparently they have a person of interest. They think they know who did it. See, they're dancing all over the place. They think they might know who did it. And they are looking for a guy by the name of Frank James. as a person of interest as a result of a credit card that was left in the van, I believe they said, which was found 5 miles from the scene of the crime. Okay. Now, they said credit card. It could be a credit card receipt. It could be in a number of things because the news never reports accurately, especially at the beginning. And then sometimes the reporters will discover more information, and sometimes they're told to discover information or told to forget information that they thought that I had because no, that wasn't true at all. So all day long, I'm sure that they were hoping to find that this would be some good old boy from Georgia who loved guns and probably had ties to some white supremacy group or something. But sadly, it turns out that that's not the case. Not only are they looking for this Frank James, who happens to be a black male, and they won't say whether he's really the suspect. Of course, this person of interest came about long after I was gone from the business. We used to be able to call them suspects. But no, it's person of interest. And it turns out that either he or this other person of interest, that may be some phantom person of interest, had been on the FBI's terror watch list. They were aware, once more, a person that they had been aware of. But they had taken him off the list in 2019 after numerous interviews. Well, Frank, because see, I'm not one of those who will call suspects and dirtbags sir and the gentleman and Mr. James. Well, Frank was able to sit down and snow a good snow job on the FBI guys. Just another one that said no, I am not a bad person. And the FBI, highly trained FBI, will sit there and they go back and interview him numerous times and finally said, you know what, Mr. James, he is not a bad person. He's a good person, and we're going to take him off of our terror watch list. Not that the terror watch list does much good, does it? And so I go back and I find, a couple more things happened. First off, somebody said it was a Glock, and then somebody said that it jammed, right? He didn't continue shooting because his weapon jammed. Okay, I said, a Glock jammed? Now I'm not a Glock guy. I don't carry a Glock, but they're really not. I mean, it had to be awful dirty if it was a Glock, I would think. I'll leave it up to you Glock guys to tell me. I carry Smiths and Springfield Armory. Those are my weapons of choice. So I'll leave it up to you Glock guys. I mean, what does it take to make a Glock jam? I don't think that it happens it happens. Nothing's perfect. Glocks aren't any more perfect than any other gun. But, probably like any other gun, if you don't clean them, they'll probably jam. Or if you're using some, substandard ammo or whatever. I don't know what kind of jam it was. Could be grape jam as far as I know. So anyway, they say it jammed, but it had some high-capacity magazines in it, apparently, somebody said. Then I find out, this is another lesson. This is a lesson for all of you who have said, what kind of gun should I get? Apparently they're saying it was a 380. Well, now, okay, 380s, I won't diminish the women by saying that a 380 is for women, because that's not true. Women who are smart don't carry 380s, they carry 40s and 45s. They also don't carry 9mm. Okay, because they're just not destructive enough. Simple as that. And please don't anybody, if you haven't been in a gunfight, don't come on and tell me how destructive 9mm are, and don't give me all this jazz about, shot placement is all important. It's all about shot placement. Well, if you haven't been in a gunfight and you don't practice hours a day with government ammo, you have no idea what you're talking about in a gunfight about this shot placement. Okay, get in a gunfight and see how well you place your shots. So let's don't have that argument here. I just got rid of somebody over on Patreon for thinking that he could argue, and I don't subject. It's not me that I don't care that much, but I don't subject the other people, the other subscribers to that kind of idiocy. So we'll lay that aside, and if I have to, I'll make another how to choose a gun video over on Patreon one of these days. So a 380. That explains why nobody got killed, right? You know how many people I have personally known of who were killed with 380s? None. Now I have known some were killed with 9s, a lot more with bigger guns. So anyway, so that's what it was. I know I'm kind of getting off onto tangents, but this story has a lot of tangential applications in it. That's because it's a crazy story. It's because some of the things just don't make sense. And this guy was put on the watch list out in New Mexico. This Frank James. You know, remember that was Jesse's brother's name, right? Frank James? Right up from up here in Kearney, north of Kansas City. Frank James. Anyway, okay, we're going to find out more, but this has, just like I said today, I said it recently, we're coming into an election season. I would not be surprised to see more of these happening. And do you think that they'll find Frank? And if they do, what do you think the story will be behind it? This is going to be really interesting to see, isn't it? How this develops. And how much is covered. We will see about that too. Interestingly, the New York lieutenant governor just got arrested today. Did you see that? This happened in New York. More news from New York. Lieutenant governor, after the failed and miserably broken Governor Cuomo had to step aside, the new lieutenant governor, not the new lieutenant, but the lieutenant governor was arrested. He resigned after he was arrested this morning for campaign finance, crimes of some kind. Campaign finance. I thought that all of our elections were Snow White, right? Lily White, clean as a whistle. There wasn't any shenanigans in those things, right? Well, we got a lot of things coming down the road. I do expect there to be more of this happening because they need it. They need it. Now, how can those two go together? How, Steve Smith, can you possibly bring that together? Same way you are, aren't you? Anyway, I'm going to let it go for that. Let me know what you think. What are you thinking about this? What do you hear? Remember, we have to be very careful about how we say things. Because our ability to communicate on this platform is important, right? We want to be able to keep putting things out. So we're not going to threaten anybody. We're not going to call anybody, names beyond, what we shouldn't. And but what do you think? Let us know down there. Let me know. If you've heard anything more about this, what do you think about it? I'm sure you guys, I'll be honest, I'm not going to spend much more time digging into this. I got 9 million other things I need to be doing right now. But I know you all are smart. I know you all are always keeping up on stuff. So let us know in the comments. You'll be letting me know. You'll be letting everybody else know also what you've come up with. And it'll be interesting to see what the morrow brings in this latest case of what's going on? Okay. You all have a good night. I'm going to finish my buffalo sweat for my buddy up in Colorado. Remember, we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow, and preparing means keeping track of what's going on, having an idea of what's developing, and always having a plan on what to do for a myriad of potential outcomes. Y'all have a good night. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.